Hello and welcome to the I Love You Bet podcast. I'm Heather and this is my sister,
Ryan. Each week we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
to critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth. So join us,
sisters, latchkey kids, cuspers, and lazy feminists as we look back at our past to say, I love you, but...
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, sister, hermana.
What you been wasting time on this week, my friend?
Man, it's been a week. It has been a week. It's been a very long, exhausting, good, bad, all the things week. Most recently, I wasted time watching the new Wonka movie last night.
Oh yeah? What'd you think?
Not a fan.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It just was like, like it could have been so much better.
Okay.
Like the songs weren't very good. It just kind of sounded like the same song over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely put a lot of money into it.
I know, which is sad that they didn't do better putting better writing. Yeah. I will say I'm a little over Timothy or Timothée or whatever, Chalamet, however you say his name.
He goes by Timothy, and that's fair.
That I'm over him or that he goes by Timothy? That he's allowed to go by
Both.
whatever.
He can go by whatever he wants. I think most of the time now he goes by ting ting ting.
By what?
Because of the SNL sketch where he's like ting 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 or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Yes, I do like that. I mean, he is pretty funny, but I was kind of over him when he started dating a Kardashian.
I feel like that's an easy criterion to just block a human from being worthy of your attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like,
if you like the Kardashians, great. Good for you.
You're not listening to this podcast.
And if you are, great. Good for you.
Whatever brings you joy.
Bitch, you watched Jersey Shore, and that made me want to murder myself. So you have zero reason to judge.
That was like a long fucking time ago, and I never even finished the first season. No.
I'm throwing rough signals. I'm throwing flags. We're not going to have the conversation.
Whatever. And yes, I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills now, but I will tell you, Harry Styles also watches Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I did try because, you know, when you stop watching, then they're like, here's just something else to watch if you don't turn it off. The Peacock was like, here's the very first episode of the Kardashians. And I was like, okay, let's just see. I couldn't even get through one episode. I was like, this is fucking terrible. How do people watch this?
I don't.
So, there
are very few humans that would be interesting enough to just watch them exist in the world. Most of us are really fucking boring, even if we have a lot of money. True facts.
I feel like if I had a camera on Elliot, most of the time people would be very entertained by him, but obviously I'm biased.
You would also have a lot of suggestions in your inbox.
I already have a lot of suggestions in my inbox.
Behavioral modification.
I already have a lot of suggestions in my Instagram inbox, my text inbox, sometimes my Facebook inbox. And it's like they're all from you.
What?
Like you're the only one.
So weird.
I appreciate that.
I promise you I'm not the only one, because when we get to how I wasted time this week, you'll hear a little more, and it's not from me. Please continue.
Leave now. Are we done? Can we go?
You don't want to talk about anything else that happened? You had a really good work day.
I watched the State of the Union twice because I showed it in class, but that was fun.
I watched it 0 times.
I wasted a lot of time being really angry about things, but then it like drove me to action. So I don't consider that to be like a waste.
That's good.
Reached a point this week where I am no longer allowing people in my life to not take responsibility for their actions without me saying, hey, you need to take responsibility for your actions.
I like it.
So,
I don't mind if you got a hitch in your giddy up, but you got to have some giddy up.
yeah. Like, it's fine if things go bad, but if you're the person in charge, you have to be able to say, it's not me.
Yeah.
And
you need another gladiator in the ring. You don't need another fucking person sitting up in the stands.
Or blaming everybody in the stands.
Yeah.
Whether directly or indirectly. So
sure.
Yeah. All right. That's I felt like I had more, but yeah, that's what I got. So yeah, go ahead. Hit me.
Well, I watched a lot of television because my body is broken and it's hard to do other things when you're in pain. And I only have 2 games on my phone, so I got real bored of those real fast. And I was like,
you could download more.
I was like, I should go work on my Spanish. And then I was like, that's just going to make me think about my uncle. And then I'm just going to get mad. So I need to not do that. So
you can work on your French.
Nope. So I decided that no, I was just going to let my body heal and not work on my brain. That's what I decided. I watched a ton of shit, but I did make some discoveries. I happened to watch a few true crime documentaries, which is not really my thing, but they were pretty decent. And then I finished watching one that I had started before that Peter Dinklage narrates about how to be a cult leader. And I had a couple of thoughts from that one. One, it might be kind of fun to start a cult, but like if you could find a way to do it where you didn't isolate people from their families completely and you just kind of took a little bit of money from dumb people to satisfy your own life, like that might be all right. Like I'd kind of be okay with that. I'm not going to
like Mary Kay or like
it's all it's all multi-level marketing. That's all cults.
Yeah, I think it's just a club where people have to pay to participate.
And then I was watching, and one of the face people that was in one of the face people that was in the cult documentary, the long one with Peter Dinklage, is a former cult member and a podcaster who had a very cute haircut. I was very jealous. And she was talking about part of the reason it's really hard for people to leave cults is because they give so much of themselves, particularly through free labor, that they're like...
teaching's a cult?
I think work can be a cult. I think where I work is a cult. And I don't think that I don't think it's well, here's what I would say. They don't expect us to do that, but they take advantage of the fact that we do that.
Yeah.
And having had a broken back for all these weeks and not working, I'm like, oh, wait, what? I don't want to do this. It sucks. Like, this sucks hardcore. Like, wow, This really sucks. So it has given me some perspective. It also made me feel a lot better about the relationships that I've been in because I have a hard tendency of not wanting to get out of those. And it's it's a psychological problem, which is I have invested so much of myself into this. And if I walk away, I walk away with nothing. So like nobody can give me shit about not dating ever again because my psychology is broken and I'm not dealing with it. Like, nope.
Oh my God.
Apparently,
teaching's a cult. Oh my God.
Welcome to HD's real life. In other terrible news, healthcare is dystopia. And
you're gonna have to repeat that. I just yelled really loudly.
Oh, thanks. In other news, healthcare is dystopia. So if that makes you feel better, as you know,
I knew that.
I have healthcare. It's an HMO. It's decent healthcare. It's through my work. I went to the ER 7 days ago exactly and had an MRI. I still haven't seen a back specialist because my HMO is trying to figure out how many visits they want to allow me. Like, motherfuckers, how about one?
Start with one. Just start with one and go from there.
Authorize one. That's all I need. And then from there,
and then the doctor can
baby.
refer more. Jesus
How about one?
Christ.
And then in addition to that, because everybody's back is broken because we're all in cults and we sit at our desks too long,
Yeah.
the surgeon that I used to see only works 2 days a week. And
Oh, nice. Good.
he's
Lucky him.
booking 3 weeks out, and it could take up to 10 days to get the referral, which means the earliest that I could get in to see him is in a month. So that was very exciting to learn that healthcare is a dystopian hellscape. Even when you have the good healthcare, like,
Yeah.
even with the good healthcare. Now, I will say that I was very careful this time because the last time I went to the ER with a broken back was 10 years ago. And it was because I got into a position I literally physically could not get out of. They had me in and out of there in under an hour because they just decided that I was pill seeking. 2 days later, I was back there in the same ER checking in for emergency surgery after I lost all of the nerves in my pelvic floor and my right leg, and it took years to get those back. So, health lesson number 1, y'all. Nerves die real fast and they take a really, really long time to come back. So if you have any kind of pain, you need to watch out and make sure that your nerves are still working. Your nerves drive your muscles. So if your muscles aren't working, it's probably your nerves. And if your nerves die, you got a long, long road ahead of you. So I am incredibly sensitive to this. So when when mom took me to the ER, which is a whole other story, I checked in and they're like, what's your pain level? And I said, I'm not here to talk about my pain, here to talk about the fact that I am having difficulty urinating. And thankfully this time they listened to me. And they kept talking about my my Caudus equinus, which evidently we all have. Here's your next anatomy lesson, y'all. At the base of your spine, all those nerves that are your spinal cord, they start breaking out into little tentacle-looking things. They call that the Caudus equinus, which means horsetail, because apparently they had not seen anything in the ocean when they named it, because it does not look like a horsetail. It looks like a sea creature. And those start getting pressure on them.
It's a jellyfish.
Yeah,
Fish.
my jellyfish getting squished, and that's what we're worried about. So that's why they did the MRI. So that was the good news. So I would say if you take yourself to the ER and you're in pain, say nerves, and they might treat you like an actual human being who isn't just
Don't talk about pain.
Yeah, they don't care about pain. They think you're just a drug addict. So good times.
I feel like if it's your first time ever being there, they should like give you the benefit of the doubt. And then if you come back,
Yeah. Now, in fairness, 10 years ago was probably like the height of the opioid crisis. So I get it. I get it. But nobody even asked me how long has it been since you've peed. Like that never even came up because I was in so much pain I hadn't thought about it and I didn't know it was a problem. And I would have said 2 days and then they would have admitted me.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been done.
You should have sued them.
I mean, what's the point of that? So, other things. I started watching Shogun, which makes me think of Dad. So that was nice. So I was like, oh, it's like watching a dad show. I watched all of The Gentleman, the Guy Ritchie show on Netflix, which was an excellent waste of time. Theo James has this thing where like, I don't like him, but I can't help liking him. I don't know how to explain it, but I really, 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 really liked that he and the female lead never hooked up. Like they went all the way through all the episodes. There's a little bit of a simmer, and they never, like they got close to almost kind of sort of kissing during a flashback scene where they took a whole bunch of crazy homemade liquor off of some travelers, which who knows what I would do if I drank homemade liquor off of travelers. I'd probably end up in the ER. So the last thing I will waste time talking about how I wasted time is
I was going to say, you could just do your own podcast. You don't
I spent a lot of time with our mother this week.
Oh, no.
That means I spent a lot of time talking to our mother this week. And one of the days I had ordered a pickup order from Aldi. So we drove there together and I turned on NPR because she likes NPR and neither of her radios works or something in her 2 cars that don't work. but get her around. And we were listening, and she was telling me about how that there was a correspondent who had lived in Japan for years, and then he came back and he sort of reflected on living in Japan and how it was such a culture shock to come back to the United States because everyone in Japan is so polite and everywhere is so clean, and people would never think of eating in their cars. Like that was just barbaric to him coming back to America after having lived in Japan. And mom's kind of sitting there telling me all that. And I was like, I have a friend whose wife was a top pharmaceutical rep. That's a whole other situation I'm not even going to get into. But she was the only woman who could get into the very top boardrooms in Japan to talk to them because she dressed like a man, she drank like a man, she joked like a man, she smoked like a man. And so they said, she's a man, she can come in. And then mom didn't know what to do about that. And then she was like, well, it's just so clean. I was like, well, mom, if you really want to go somewhere clean, let's just go to Singapore, where if you litter, they cane you. And then mom didn't know how to talk to me anymore. The other thing mom talks about way too much is your fucking child. I heard so much about your child this week. I was so tired of hearing about your child. Like, I had to hear about how it's not fair about Christmas, and I was like, just come to Europe. I'm going to Europe. Like, fuck it. Like,
oh yeah, we'll be there for Christmas. I've already decided that was a lie.
You made a promise, Gladiator.
Yeah, we've all made some promises.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Well, that was a whole lot about us. So, hey, it's our anniversary.
Where was the part about some people talking about my son's behavior?
That was it. That was mom. If you want to know what she thinks about your son, you call her. I don't want to talk about that right now. No, thank you.
You brought it up.
Heather, edit this part out.
Oh, the part where I finally get to talk? Cool, yeah. Like, what? I hear.
You just want to talk because it's about Elliot. Talk about something that's interesting to
No,
anyone.
I had multiple things I wanted to interject during that long-ass diatribe.
Okay, go for it. What?
I started reading a new book by Sophie Kinsella called The Burnout that totally relates to your whole cult thing, but then you, like, just kind of went. And so, it's fine. I'm going to send it to you when I'm done. I bought it as a beach book, but then I ran out of library books. But luckily I bought 2 beach books. I mean, I can't read 2 books in 1 week. I'm not like a crazy person. Like, they read really fast. So, but yeah, it's like, that's how it starts is she's like working at this company. It's like something says like the second or third sentence is like something doing the job of 3 people. And I was like, oh God.
Oh no.
Oh, Heather Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to send it to you or give it to you when you come visit next month.
The great news is when I can't sit or stand, I do the job of 0 people.
Well, I wasn't thinking about you right now. I was like, the last. So, and then like
the last my whole life.
The company, like the wellness person's like, you haven't done your vision board.
Ooh.
Like it's pretty hilarious. Like it's pretty like, what the fuck are we all taking Christmas? So it's pretty good. It starts pretty good. Very much like what you were talking about. So I don't think it'll be one that causes you PTSD because like, there was a couple of the books that I was reading. So I started reading the prequel to the Hunger Games. And I was like, I can't read this.
Yeah.
This is 2, which I think I've talked about previously, but and then like Miss Stacey Abrams' latest like government Supreme Court thriller about corrupt governments, and I was like, oh, this is hard.
She knows too much. She knows too much.
This is too real. This is too real. No. But I did get through it, and it's really good. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. There you go. Wow. Did we watch a movie this week?
Yeah, we did.
About what we didn't do this week.
I was trying to talk about how this is our 1-year anniversary of the podcast. Yay!
We made it.
It's so exciting. We
I know,
did
I
it.
mentioned it to Jacob the other night. He goes, "Oh, you're not still doing that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know you haven't ever listened to it." And yes, somewhat. Sometimes we still do it.
I mean, in fairness, right now, I'm half dead, but
You
what
know
are you
what?
gonna do?
I'm really proud of us because there have been so many things in the past that we said we were going to do, and this is probably the first one that we've done and
Yes.
followed through. And like to make it a year, I mean that's impressive.
We as a we, yes, yeah. Individually, we've done things on our own
No,
for
yeah, no,
sustained
I know. I
periods
mean,
of
we
time.
is a we. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bar in Chicago, but
Which I fucking would hate. God, what a terrible life. No, thank you.
or a band or a t-shirt company or
Everybody has a t-shirt company now, so it doesn't matter.
that's true. It's very easy to have a t-shirt company now.
So we watched Hairspray from 1988, and we already discussed that there's no point saying what we remember because we would just recite the entire film. So, what did you forget, or what were you happy to be reminded of while rewatching Hairspray, the John Waters classic?
Oh, there was something that I was happy to remember. No, it's I hate it when I go back and I can't read my notes or I don't understand what they mean. Like I wrote the word iron in all caps and underlined it. I have no idea what that means.
Oh, it's because of how she said, because of how Divine says it.
Oh, iron. Yeah,
Kind of
see?
iron in here.
I'm glad that you know how to read my notes when I don't.
Because it's not a Baltimore accent. Like, it's so
I
weird.
know it's not.
I mean,
I think
I assume that's not a Baltimore accent. I don't even know what a Baltimore
I
accent
think the
sounds
first
like.
thing that I kind of chuckled at that I had forgotten was in the opening scenes where Link is like having a fucking orgasm, hairspraying his hair.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, watching it, it's like it definitely wasn't something that I didn't notice. Like, I picked up on that as a child too.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to remember when I first saw this movie, and I don't know how old I was or would have been.
I mean, you would have seen it like probably in '89. So
Yeah,
you would have
so I
been
would
like
have been like
8. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I did
we
write down.
definitely watched it on video at Campbell. So yeah, you would have been 8.
I was like, these are some core ass memories.
Yeah,
Like,
no
this movie
joke.
is like really some very core fucking foundational memories of Ryan Davis that like really set a path for me
Yes.
in a lot of ways.
How many versions of the roach dress have you made in your life?
Just one. Just the one.
Just one? I thought you did it in high school too.
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope.
Oh, crazy.
No, that one was the first time. I was going to say, though, if I give you a picture, you're welcome to use it for promotion for this episode.
Thank you. I was going to ask for one.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to
I have
see
one on Facebook somewhere.
Ryan Davis in the roach dress. You know, you do.
Well, mine is not nearly as fabulous.
Yeah, you don't have it in sateen.
No, I do not. And I also stupidly made it with like acrylic paint, which if you wash something, will wash out. So the dress never could get washed.
That was a stinky dress.
I have like one fabric strip of one roach in a memory box somewhere. So
that's all you need. You don't need it. I would like to say, just to kind of give some context around who we are as individuals. Hairspray is definitely the first John Waters movie that we saw. It was not the last.
No.
It is the first most mainstream one that he did. Mm-hmm. Growing up, there was a video store on the square in Denton. And this is back. Any of you who are familiar with the whopping metropolis of Denton, Texas, don't know.
This is going to be for that Facebook page that
yeah. In the 80s and 90s, there was nothing on the square, but we would still go there. But
in the early 2000s, there was nothing on the square.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It was the 2010s that things started to kick off. So there was, I want to say his name was Joe. The place might have been called Joe. I don't know. Anyway,
it was Dodd's Video.
Dodd's Video. Okay. So it was Joe Dodd. His name was Joe, right?
I think. I don't know. But I know it was Dodd's Video.
Okay, and I can't Wikipedia this, so who knows? Anyway, it was on the square, and mom and dad would take us there, and it was exciting because there was a free pinball machine, so I would always play that. That was very fun. And there was like an upstairs or a back place or whatever. There was like a whole porn section, so that's why dad wanted to go,
Yeah,
of
there was
course.
something very like titillating about
Seedy,
that
yes,
place.
yes, where it was like it was normal enough that a family could go in, but it was very definitely like a. And he had every single John Waters movie, and they were all signed by John Waters. So
Oh,
it
I didn't
was
know
like,
that. I don't remember that.
yeah,
'Cause
I
I was pretty
remember
young.
that. Yeah, because that was like a big deal. Like that was like, oh my God, John Waters has been here and he signed all the things. And, because I'm pretty sure he had a fairly strong cult classic set. So like in addition to pornography, there was the regular movies, like you could go get Back to the Future or whatever, and you could play pinball. And then there was like a whole cult classic section. So it was a very cool place
I have a
to grow
very
up.
strong memory of seeing the cover of Valley of the Dolls there
Yeah,
and
that
being
makes sense.
very struck by that. Can I pause for 1 second? Because I forgot I was something I was going to show you.
Yeah.
Okay. But it pertains to what we're doing right now. Okay. So my friend Patricia, who is the only other person our age I know who has a love of John Waters, who I saw at Christmas and I hadn't seen her in forever. Like a long time ago, she gave me a signed copy of one of John Waters' books. And then she gave me this for Christmas, and I don't even think I showed it to you. But it's so amazing. It's a John Waters bust Christmas ornament.
Yes, it is.
And it's fuzzy. It's tactile. It has like pink fuzzies.
He's wearing a skinny red tie. Well, not too skinny, actually. He's got the
so he's got a
pencil
red
mustache.
tie. He's got his mustache penciled in.
That is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty good.
So thank you, Patricia.
So if
that is
somehow, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is one that Elliot will never get to touch or put on the tree.
Yeah. Ever. So I just
I
want
kind of
to
want to take it to school and put it on my Christmas government tree that I have, even though it's not like,
okay.
I know it's not government related, but the children need to know.
The children need to know. And so you children, if you don't know, you need to know about John Waters. So, if the only thing you've seen is Hairspray Forward, I strongly encourage you to dip your toes back in the water. I would say the most palatable, I think, pre-Hairspray is going to be Polyester. And there were definitely moments in this where I was like, oh my God, like some of the lines could be very, very polyester. So I worried about John Waters when the internet came out because part of what makes him so amazing is his ability to like push on boundaries and gross people out. Yeah. And then I was like, how the hell does John Waters survive the internet? Because the internet literally has people killing each other and putting it on the internet. Like you can't, I mean, first of all, there's no art to that at all. But I worried about it. And then what I love about it is that somehow he completely twisted back in on himself, and then Hairspray becomes this like mainstay, like normcore, like musical, happy-go-lucky musical that's like Grease. Like it's like what the fuck happens? Like how you take someone who made Pink Flamingos, and then fucking Hairspray, and they're the same person, and they're consumed by audiences who probably know nothing about each other. And if they were to go in either direction, because I will tell you, I did watch the 2007 Hairspray, and I almost had to turn it off because John Travolta in drag is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. That's straight up horror, period. Like that's a fucking horror movie. It is terrifying to me to watch that man in drag. Like,
forgot about him in that. Like I saw it like once or twice when it came out. I'm glad that it was something that John Waters condoned
and made money off of.
Which I'm going to assume, being someone in their upper ages is, was kind of his goal.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
if you think about fundamentally, so I can go on about this movie for a really long time. So
I mean, same.
I mean, there's a lot going on with this movie. So
Yeah.
like most teen movies are great because they can explore things like race, gender, class, and sex and sexuality, right? This
Yeah.
one you get thrown in with weight, which you
Yeah.
usually don't get, right? So you get
Never
that
got.
in there.
Never got.
And the way that he explores race, it's like he was really writing about the things that were happening to him as a teenager. And he
Yes.
managed to make it just this side of palatable for
Yeah.
mainstream audiences that you can grasp because that's a huge, I mean, integrating television is a massive thing that happened in this country that was a real problem. And it
Yeah.
is so easy to turn that into Mean Girls. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's so easy. But the fact that it happened is still just, it's kind of amazing. But it's interesting to me because, you know, you talked about not really, I mean, Hunger Games, you can kind of see it a lot in, you know, Black History Month, like Ruby Bridges comes up all over the place, and everybody's like, this
Hmm.
brave little girl, this brave little girl. I'm like, she's
Hmm.
not a brave little girl. She's a fucking child that you all forced into
To
a
be brave.
position where she
Yeah.
had to be a brave little girl. Like, you fucking adults couldn't get over your shit, and you
Yeah.
forced children to endure racial slurs, hatred, violence because you can't figure your shit out. Like,
Yeah.
this is what we do to children, and this is what we use schools for. Like, I
That's what we're
mean,
still doing
yeah,
with
absolutely.
gun violence.
Yeah. Like, I was telling my acupuncturist today, like, I'm so glad that you found a place for Elliot to go to school, but it sickens me that we as a society have just said we would rather be lazy and not fight against ARs, like semi-automatic rifles,
Hmm.
than know that children aren't going to be slaughtered by them. Like, we have
Yeah.
just tacitly accepted that. And it's one fucking thing to take your shoes off at the airport. It is another goddamn thing altogether to just be like, well, I hope my kid doesn't die at school today. Like, why is that
Yeah.
acceptable? Why the fuck is that acceptable? It is completely unacceptable. And yet we all are just like, oh, well.
Well, and then on top of that, then you have a whole population of people who don't know if their children are going to come back anytime they walk out the door because they might be killed by police
Right.
or, you know, a racist asshole who feels threatened.
Or an anti-trans person now.
Or an anti-trans, or just a scared person who feels threatened by a child or just a person existing.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel threatened by another person's existence, you are the problem.
Right. And one of the things that I like about this is that you can tell how much the parents put that pressure on the kids. Like, I mean, Amber is absolutely
Yes.
a function
Cool.
of her parents. Like,
Yeah.
she
She is
doesn't
a
get to
tool
choose.
of her
Yes.
parents.
Yeah.
Economic and racist, you know, like
Yeah.
social and economic.
Yeah. And then Tracy,
Whatever.
I mean, you know, I mean, her parents don't have a fucking agenda, but like, she's cool because they're cool. They're just like, whatever, let's sell some zany
Yeah.
jokes. Like,
She's cool and they're cool because they're poor.
yes, they're definitely
That is the message that I got is rich people are assholes.
they have nothing that they're trying to maintain. Like, they have no power, so they don't
Yeah.
have to be dicks about it because like they got nothing to hang on to except the jokes.
Yeah, they're like,
So,
we have nothing to lose, so like come and take it. Like, what are you gonna do? Come take our
Yeah.
little apartment, you know? Cool. Our
Exactly,
joke
yeah.
shop.
Take our iron in the way.
I mean, I will say it is sad that like the movie getting remade 20 years later doesn't have like, yes, it has the race stuff, but it's so fucking candy coated,
Of course, yeah.
you know, that it's like 20 years later, it's more candy coated
Yeah.
than it was. So it's like, because like that, the scene at the you know, the race riot at Tilted Acres, I mean, that's fucking real.
Yeah.
Right. And as a 8, 9 year old watching that had an impact on me. Right. Like, I remember, you know, and this is going to sound extremely incorrect and terrible, but remember, I was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
and it was the 1990 or 89. But this is the thought that I can remember having, is seeing these, white protesters with these signs that say, go back to Africa, go back, and they're yelling, go back where you came from. And I remember thinking, because I was actually taught about, the history of slavery and the institution of slavery in our country, thinking, but we brought them here they're here because we forced them to come here,
Right?
like against their will. And it's just like, how at 8, 9 years old am I able to get there when like fucking full grown adults in this day and age are like, like
Because
fuck slavery.
we were the very end of funding education, and then the last 20 years that they've defunded education.
Yeah, well, then we just didn't leave any child behind.
We also had the benefit of liberal parenting.
Yes.
Catholic
the
parenting,
fact that we were watching that movie.
Yeah, Catholic parenting where you actually acted like you cared about other people, not like the new Catholic. And then also we were extremely lucky to grow up in a college town with 2 colleges. So a lot of our free education came from people who were overly educated. So there were a lot of factors that imprinted on us.
I know, but
the fact that is a critical thought.
Yeah.
Right. That's a critical thought. And that's the big problem right now, is there's not a whole lot of critical thinking going on. So,
yeah. Well, and that's why I'm waging war against phones in my classroom.
Good. They need to pay attention.
Like to the point where like the other day I was like, do I even want a smartphone? Do I want to just get a flip phone?
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, but then like I was using the Target app to like place an order and go pick it up. I was like, oh, I can't do that with a flip phone.
I think you have to learn boundaries, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The thing is, like, I could keep the smartphone and only use it when I'm connected to the internet.
Yeah.
And then and not carry it with me. So it's what I'm thinking about, because I really am like, I'm sure it's like not irrational, but I'm like, this is the thing that's ruining, and I'm very concerned.
Yeah.
For society.
I've gone off on this podcast before, so I'll
just
say yes. No, that doesn't mean you can't go off on it. I'm just saying.
I know, but I mean, there's no point. Like, we all know, so
yeah.
Yeah, like that whole scene, like the race stuff. I will say one thing I didn't remember with terrible the acting.
Oh yeah, no.
But
the
that's just
really
John
bad.
Waters too.
Yes.
It's like is it bad, or does he make them bad? Like, it's hard to know. Like,
it's both, but I'll say it doesn't have to be, because the guy that played Corny Collins, he's actually a very good actor. Like, I was like, wow, he could really act. And even when he kissed Mink Stoll, like she overacted to it, but he gave her a real kiss. Like, I was like, yeah, dude. Like,
no. Seeing Corny Collins again gives me some insight into my work crush.
I see.
Like, I'm like, oh, okay, there's some. I mean, it's not like they're the same person, but like I see, like there was something where it was like,
But I think it's funny because that, so like a TV personality in his. You think about like Vince Fontaine, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of ironic, because that is such a caricature type of character. And yet within the context of the film, he's one of the more complex and subdued of everybody. Yes. Where even as a kid, I kind of got where he was like, why does this have to be a big deal? And like, he kind of dislikes having to be in this role where he's having to bow to the network, when he's like, they just want to dance, like, come on, let's be cool, where it's like he could have just been Vince Fontaine and just been like a big himself. Like a big dorky dork.
Like just not a narcissistic asshole. But like, what was the line? When Link tells her, our skin is white, but our soul.
Oh my God, there were so many things I wrote toward the end. Like,
God, I was like,
the sensuality of the hairspray at the beginning, especially with Link, like that was so good. The irony of calling Amber a queer, love that. how fucking obsessed is Amber with Tracy? Like,
Yeah.
very obsessed. Calm down, girl. Like, calm down.
Like just nothing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Long live Motormouth Maybell. Love her. Ruth
Oh
Brown.
my God, yes.
Amazing. Josh Charles trying to steal every single scene that he's in.
Who's that?
Josh Charles, he's one of the background guys. He was on the Good Wife, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, he was in Dead
Yeah.
Poet Society and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like,
No, I know who you're talking about.
he's
Yeah.
definitely trying to like act it out back there. He was making me laugh. I want demerits back. I want telegrams back, and I want Twitter gone. Like, there were some structures in place that I find to be so much better. I was really trying to figure out, like, okay, is this like part of me, and I didn't do a deep dive, but I'm really curious as to why he decided to go a little more mainstream. I mean, and I looked up the budgets, so because I did a little bit of a deep dive. So
Okay.
this had a $2.7 million budget. They paid Ricky Lake $15,000 to do this movie. She was the lead.
This was like her first thing ever, right?
It was her first thing ever. She didn't have a trailer or anywhere to change clothes. So between takes, she had to like try to change like without any privacy.
Yeah.
Polyester, now granted, it's a way older. It had a $300,000 budget compared to $2.7 million. And then Crybaby was 12 million and
Yeah.
Serial Mom was 13 million.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think about it, and it's like, okay, so what is going on here? So the budget is definitely different, right? That's different. The camp is still there. The bad dialogue is still there. I think maybe one thing that was a little bit different is that I felt like Divine was taken a little more seriously. You know, like it was almost like Divine was more of a straight character as Edna Turnblad.
Yeah.
And then having Divine as out of drag was way over the top and ridiculous and way campier. Part of what makes this a really good movie is that there's music and dancing, but no singing.
Yeah.
And that's because if you have a musical, you have to go through a whole fucking song. And you have to have choreography for the whole fucking song. So part of what makes Hairspray so good is it's just like hit after hit after hit after hit. And it's like, here's how you do this dance. Everybody do the dance. Do the dance for another minute. Go on to the next song. Like that was part of what makes it so enjoyable.
Well, there was that one song with singing.
Well, yes.
The band.
That guy. No, there's two, because there's the guy that sings when they're over in like West Baltimore.
Oh, Toussaint McCall. Yeah.
Yes. And I love that, because then the guy in the alleyway singing, like where he's like echoing it, like
I just thought him. Like I don't know, but in my mind, watching it was like, why is he now a homeless man?
Well, the homeless guy was the one who like asked what's her name for money. Penny's mom.
Oh my God. That scene where those people are laughing at that scared white woman.
Oh my God. I could watch that all day.
I think I wrote fucking white people like at least 3 times while I was watching this movie. It was like,
it was so good.
It was so good. Like, and I can't even remember being amused by that as a child. Like, what are you so scared? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, that she's the cop and it's a black cop and she's just like, ah. Like, oh my God.
So fucking funny.
Amazing. And I love Allison, who played her in the new one, who played that character in the new one.
Jenny?
What's her name?
I don't know. Oh, is it Allison? Jenny? I don't know.
Yeah. And she's great, but no, that woman was just perfect.
Yeah. I loved that once Tracy gets into we're not gonna do a synopsis of this movie, just watch it.
Just watch it. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it. Like,
watch the 1988 version, y'all. Calm down.
Yeah.
I love that she like gets the pick of the guys, but the guys aren't like, ugh. Like the guys are all like, hey,
oh my God.
Like,
Okay, so yes.
Hey.
So if we're talking about like core fucking memories, and I really wish that somehow this could have overwritten everything else. But if you're talking about like the law of ratios, then there was
You
no
couldn't
chance.
win. Yeah.
But it was like to be a fat girl. I mean, this is a fairy tale for fatties.
Right. Except it
Like,
doesn't
that
feel
is-
like a fairy tale. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't feel like a fairy tale.
It doesn't feel like a fairy tale, but it is, right? So it doesn't feel like one, but when I'm looking at it, but like
It feels
thinking
like
about
it
it,
feels like Bridgerton. Well, they were like,
yes.
like with Bridgerton, they
Yeah.
were like, yeah,
Like
but
this
what
isn't
if,
how it was,
what
but
if
man,
black
wouldn't it be
people were
great?
wealthy too?
Yeah.
Where I was like, what
Right?
if, what
Like,
if people weren't grossed out by fat girls? Like, what would that
yes.
be like?
So yeah, so to be a 9-year-old fat girl and see this other, and not like what we would call fat now, like fat, like she's fat, right? She's
Yeah.
not just like she's a size 12. No, she's fat.
Yeah.
And I have her be like confident and happy and loving herself and not trying to lose weight and not bothered by other people making comments, but then also seeing her get the hot guy like from the start, and not just one, but like multiple ones.
Yeah.
And then again, like the other guy's like, yeah, get it, buddy. Like, I don't know.
That was Josh Charles.
Like and that was the only time.
Yeah.
That was the only time. And it's probably still the only time. That's the only time I've ever seen a main character be fat and be treated the same way and
Right.
have her fatness not be a thing.
Yeah, because I've even, like, I started reading If This Shoe Fits.
Yes.
And I didn't finish it, but it's like, even on that, where she's in the reality show, it's still like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a whole thing where it's like, I mean, granted, it's a thing where people are cheering for her and whatever, but it's like, this isn't really a Cinderella story. Like, in a Cinderella story, it would be like this.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and then the same thing, like everyone loves her, like everyone's calling. Whereas, like in my mind, watching it now, I'm thinking, God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
The fucking comments online people would make.
Well, no, I mean, and I'm sure that there still were, like Amber was still making them and all that. Like,
Well,
everyone
yeah,
was
I
like,
mean, she's a fucking
adopted.
cunt, but yeah, no, I know. I know.
I will tell you, I had to like private Google some of the things they say in this because I'm not too familiar with my racist slurs, and it would be like highly offensive. And I'm like, I know, I just want to know what it means. Like, I don't want to say
like which
it.
one.
I'm gonna say that it rhymes with nigh fellow.
Oh, high yellow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it means white appearing, basically.
Yeah, no, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I said, I'm not hanging out at by local KKK mixers. Like, I don't know. Somehow, maybe I knew it at one point and I forgot about it.
I mean, I feel like I know it from that movie, and I don't know who I asked.
Okay, so I would like you to listen to these two lines and tell me why these are both amazing.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna play a game.
Yes, we're gonna play a game,
Okay.
and you have to guess which John Waters movies this is from. Okay, so the first one is
okay.
He violated the oath of the friendship ring.
Well, I know it's from this movie.
Okay.
You didn't even guess what movie it's from.
Shut
It's the
up.
movie we just watched.
Did you
Yes.
forget, Mom? Today's the day for my abortion.
Well, that's from Polyester.
Yeah, I know. I was like trying to draw parallels, and I'm like, they're the same movie. It's the same fucking movie. It's just one
Yeah.
of them is grosser than the other one. Like, that's it.
And, oh man, that fucking scene with the pimple popping, like
Oh yeah,
like the
that was great.
noise, like
Yep.
I mean,
The-
he's called the king of filth for a reason.
Yeah, the King of Trash, right?
I think it's filth.
Is it Filth? Okay, I don't
I
know.
think it's filth. Like,
And he
he's
made a
the-
whole movie about Trash World. So,
yeah, no, I think it's the king of filth.
Harkening back to Pee-wee's Big Adventure, was Francis Paxton doing an impression of Divine? Because I feel like he was.
That was, oh my god. That and the sets reminds me of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but the sets also made me think of Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah.
Like some of the sets and
Yeah,
the
some of them.
costumes and stuff because it was
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Debbie Harry is a fucking queen. Like
She was so good.
she might be the best actor, I think, in the whole movie.
No, Courtney Collins is the best actor, but she can be the
Okay,
best
well,
actress.
she's very good.
She can win best actress.
But that outfit, I know you said like we don't need to talk about the costumes, but you know, I can't help it. Like that
No,
outfit
we can
she's
talk about
wearing.
costumes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The outfit she's wearing in her first scene, those yellow pants and that white frilly crop.
That's like cut up the back. Yeah, core memory for that outfit. Yeah.
Core goddamn memory.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Really that one, and then in
One,
the
two,
opening
cha
scene,
cha
the
cha.
one.
1, 2, cha cha cha. Faster.
Yeah, no. When was Miss Soft Crowd 1945? That title wasn't handed to me on a silver platter. The dress that the girl's wearing in the opening scene that's got the like yellow black square thing happening.
Oh yeah, yeah, I love that
The
one.
who she accuses her of having falsies. Like I love that dress.
So apparently that actress was in Crybaby.
Oh, was she?
Uh-huh.
Do you know who
Look
she
her up.
was? Okay.
She was one of the girls in the bad gang. One of the, not the Drapes. Was the Drapes the bad gang or the good gang?
Was she Lenora?
She might have been Lenora. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, because she
She
wasn't
had a lot
Hatchet
of.
Face.
She had like a Amy Winehouse look in Crybaby. It doesn't matter.
Well, now I'm intrigued.
I was very excited about there being hair discrimination at school.
Oh my god. Yeah, but that's still happening.
I know.
Especially in your state.
And then I was very upset about the use of the R word, even though it was very much of the time and of our time in the 80s, unfortunately. But I did like that
a student in my class the other day used that word.
No.
I jumped all over his ass.
Good.
A little freshman. I was like, no, sir. And like, I was not the only one. There's other students. And I was like, it's okay. Let me take this. I was like, no. Because I know. And I said, do we need to have a conversation about like why you can't say it? Because I don't want you to just say like, oh, I can't say this. Like, you need to understand why it's not okay to say this.
Right.
You know, and he was like, I know. It's like, okay.
Bart Simpson, get up to this board and write it 500 times. I did like that even though she used terrible language about special education, that she did call out that they use it for holding the Black students back. So
yes.
That was a good talking truth to power.
Yes.
Dodgeball is a great way to get some exposition across.
That was a lot of conversation happening for a dodgeball game.
And also, I love that, like, at one point in the beginning, they're all like going to different high schools, and then suddenly they all go to the same high school. I don't know. And then my favorite thing ever, I remember this as a child being like, why are they together? I don't understand. When he's like, oh, you're all right, girl. And then immediately after that, he's like, would you go study with me?
Oh, like, yeah. Like, oh, you're all, like, the way he said that was like.
Except.
Okay.
Exhibit every other fucking 80s movie that we have watched on this podcast. Because they're all like that. They're all like, oh, I can't stand you. Let's make out. Like. It's like every single one of them. So I was like, oh no, like he was absolutely just parodying all romantic comedies. Like so stupid. Yeah, no. So it used to bug me. It still kind of bugs me, but also it was completely legit. And then I wrote, why is this white girl saying hi to me? I don't know why I wrote that. That's okay. Yeah, the whole part about hey Miss White Lady, that part, Miss White Lady, that part made me laugh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and then when they're trying to get the Miss Inez onto the kids show of the Corny Collins, and they won't let her in because she's black and Negro Day is at the end of the month or whatever.
Yeah. And
literally the argument from the white lady behind her is, you're holding up the line.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you inconvenience white people at all, ever. So rude. Oh my god. You want to know something sad?
Hmm.
Divine collapsed 2 weeks into promoting the film and then
Oh,
died. Yeah.
how old were
Divine's,
they?
I don't know.
I don't know. They didn't talk about pronouns then, so I guess he would have been he.
Probably she, because Divine presented as a woman. So,
Always?
most pictures I've seen. I mean, I think as Divine, she's a she.
Okay, well, yeah, as divine, yeah. I don't know. That can take us into the discussion about drag that I want to have.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So first of all, another thing I did that wasted time this week was I'm the
We're
adult
talking about a movie here.
Shut up. It relates. So everyone knows I'm currently flipping her off.
There you go.
Unfortunately, I don't have mom's dead dog to do it for me. Anyways, so I'm the sponsor for our Gender and Sexuality Alliance Club, which we have 2 members.
Okay, good job.
So, I don't think they need it anymore at our school. So,
yeah,
which is good. But anyways, so we were talking.
Because you turned everybody straight, right? So you don't need the GSA anymore.
Because so many queer kids, they're like, we're fine.
We don't need a club.
Like they're all queer, like all of them. Like there's no,
God bless them.
even with like Senate Bill 150, that's like, don't say gay.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, yeah, we're fine, whatever.
Yeah,
like, the world's on fire, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is nice. It's the one good thing that there's at least one high school where the trans kid's not gonna die in the bathroom. Yeah. They just can't go to the bathroom because of the vaping. Anywho, so we have an event coming up and we have to have like a booth. And so it's like, what are we gonna do? And I was like, well, I feel like food is really important. It's like a diversity fair. And so I was like, is there queer food? So we were like Googling like what's the food of the queer culture, Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what I said was like hummus. Lesbians love hummus, And then she like goes into like the whole history.
I think it's brunch.
I was like, I said brunch. Like I was like, yeah, I think it's brunch. But she went into the like, Faulkner Morgan archive explanation of like when the lesbians would get together at their houses and they were all poor because they couldn't get jobs and they would make, hummus because it was cheap.
Oh, there is a hummus history. Cool.
Yeah, no, there is a hummus history. So okay. I was like, we could do hummus, but so I was like Googling, I found, like a Slate article or something that was talking about it. And the best one where it was like any food that pretends to be other food is inherently queer because it's drag.
So you just go to Five Below and get like those little hot dogs.
Burgers. Yeah, like Beyond Burgers, drag. Like anything that is like masquerading as something else is drag. So it's food and drag.
What if it's like a breakfast taco because it's really just an omelet? Is that like just transgender?
No, it's still a taco though. It's not pretending to be, but like I was like, what about that whole show? Like, is it cake? Like, yeah, all those cakes queer. They're all queer. Like, we were laughing really hard at that. And so, like funny. Yeah.
I like it.
But yeah, so we were laughing about that. But then so the drag aspect of this and like how I feel like we again, we know and we've talked about how maybe not everything our parents did was awesome or the best. But
because they're humans.
Because they're humans.
Yes.
And they were poor.
Yes.
And they did not have great parenting. So however, exposing us to drag and drag culture and, queer people and, not necessarily talking about it probably, wasn't like,
yeah,
that could have been better to like, But I am very grateful for that. Like, I am grateful, and I don't know if I've told this story on this podcast before, but I love that I can remember watching Golden Girls and being convinced that B. Arthur was a man dressed as a woman and not care.
Yeah.
It was like, to me in my little child mind, like, oh, that's a man, and they're just as a woman. Whatever.
Yeah.
And like seeing, watching Hairspray, completely convinced that the mom and the station owner were two different people.
Yeah.
And one was a man and one was a woman, and then seeing the credits at the end and being like, huh? And I think it took me a while to like put two and two together.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then like, so I think we also have to talk about Richard.
Yeah.
Like, we can't talk about this movie without talking about Richard Skiles, who was I guess equivalent, our parents' best friend.
Yeah.
Mom's best friend for sure, I would say, probably.
Yeah. Dad only had friends because of
and
mom.
Hector. Huh?
Dad only had friends because of mom.
They tolerated Dad because they really liked Mom.
Oh, I mean, Dad is like an easy target. Like,
and they could make fun of him and he wouldn't. They could be amused by Dad and adored our mother.
Yeah.
But, like, he not only was probably the reason I saw this movie, but like taught me, like encouraged me to do impressions of Divine. I really think if I had been born a man, I would make a great drag queen. I don't think I'd make a good drag king.
No.
But I would have made a great drag queen.
You like dresses. You can still be a drag queen, right? Like,
what, can I?
Yeah.
I don't think that was allowed.
I mean, just take femininity and dump it up by a bajillion, and there you go.
Is that not like appropriation? To me, that's like also.
Are you
like
gonna go make money about it?
Parties
like,
go to queer bars. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I don't have the money or the time or the energy.
Obviously, if this was something you were interested in doing, you would just be doing it. But yeah,
no, I'm not. Like, but once upon a time in another dimension, like another time. But
yes,
anyway.
there was the so like when we were kids and it was a Saturday night and Mom and Dad's friends were over and they were drinking big rum or whatever, and I was hiding in the bedroom watching Saturday Night Live. You were sneaking out wearing Mom's clothes. And then they were encouraging you to perform. So yes, you were definitely like your little extroverted self who likes to get attention. Definitely benefited from Mom and Dad having friends who
I wasn't wearing Mom's clothes. I was wearing like dresses Mom bought me at Goodwill.
Well, there you go. You were wearing your Southern Belle dresses from Goodwill.
Southern Belle.
Hey, did you see that the lady who invented the poodle skirt died?
No, I didn't see that. See? Yeah. I love my poodle skirt.
I don't know.
I mean, everybody dies eventually.
I know you say that you thought Mom and Dad could have talked about it more, but to me, there's a part of me that I'm kind of glad it was not talked about because...
That normalized it?
Yeah. I mean, it was like, to me, if you don't have to name it, why name it? Like, it's just we're just people, and I remember when I dated that guy in 8th grade and like he met Richard and afterward he was like, so he's gay, and I was like, what? He was like, that guy Richard, he's gay. I was like, he is.
Well, we know why he knew.
Well, yes, we know why he knew, but it was just like, nobody ever told me. Like, how am I supposed to know? Like, it wasn't like I thought I mean, obviously, other than it's heteronormativity, so therefore by default everybody's straight, blah 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 blah. But it was like my parents' friends' sexuality was never a thing that I like was like, well, this person is like that and that person is like this. It's like, no, they're all just really loud and they drink too much and they like to make Ryan prance around in dresses while I'm trying to watch Saturday Night Live. Like, that's it. Like, the end.
They go to parties where they make stupid hats and they sing songs on each other's birthdays.
Yes, and they like it when we say embarrassing things in front of teenagers. That's very funny to them. But I mean, I feel like that's probably true for most adults. So What are you gonna
Yeah,
do?
no, I mean, I definitely don't remember ever being like, why isn't Richard married? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff. Like,
but a lot of our parents' friends weren't married, so
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, well, one of them was married to God, but
Yes. And
I
cheating
mean,
a
in that same
little
thing.
bit.
What?
And cheating a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
it's God's married to a lot of people, so it seems fair.
I know.
God's a polygamist.
Speaking of cults.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, just like with you, it's like, I mean, Richard was like, and again, if I've told this story on this podcast, I'm sorry, but what, like, yeah, like after he died, and
Yeah.
I knew he had AIDS, and then it's like video of him in drag, and I'm going, wait a minute, like, was Richard gay? She's like, yeah,
I loved it
but
that they thought we knew because he died because he had HIV.
he had AIDS. Yeah, no, that totally it. Mom was like, why? I assumed, I was like, well, why didn't you tell me? She's like, well, I assumed when you told you he had AIDS that you, and I was like,
No, they tell us in
why?
school you don't have to.
Yeah, like that was the time when like the
They
whole
actually
everything was
educated
about.
us the right way.
Yes, yeah, it's not just a gay thing. It's not just gay people, Yeah, like I was like,
Do you read what they send us home with or what? Like,
do you read the things you sign? Do you read the permission slips that you sign? Because I'm sure they had.
signed so many permission slips.
Yes. I was talking to Joey, my friend Joey, the other day, and he's got a daughter who's going into high school. And I said something about Remind, and like our daycare has a Remind, and he's like, "I'm so done with Remind. I don't sign up for any Reminds anymore. Like, if you need me, email me. Like, because the teachers send out so many.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah,
that sounds like Joey.
Sending things. I know it was.
Well, I gotta head on down the road and do some stuff before I do that.
Oh,
but
okay.
Just to wrap it up a little bit, I there are so many good lines toward the end of this movie. It's part of what helps make. First of all, the timing of the film is perfect. It's perfectly timed. It is not a minute too long. It's perfect. I love the line, "I watched that tramp and I'm embarrassed to be white."
White?
So good. I want to ride every single ride at Tilted Acres, even if they make me throw up. I want to ride every single one of those rides. I love Amber in that little tiny ass car.
Okay, I did have the thought, and this is bad, and it never occurred to me, but I mean, like, if Tracy had won, was she going to ride around in that tiny little car?
She would have fit in that tiny car. Don't even worry about that. Don't worry about that.
The scene where she starts licking the TV screen when Link is on it.
That's the same to me. That's the same as him like orgasming, spraying his hair. I love it when he's like crawling and yelling Tracy's name because he got hit in the knees by a purse. So
but
good.
then like miraculous recovery
of course.
Wheelchair at the end when they're doing the bug.
Then we got a couple more amazing lines. I wish I was at a hootenanny in Harlem. So good. And then, oh my God, there are colored people in my house. So good. John Waters as the psychiatrist. With the lake.
Oh my God.
Swirly thing is so good.
So good.
I think they must have cut this out when we would watch it on TV, but I love the fact that somebody literally had a sign that said Amber is an asshole.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Part of the sign looked like an asshole.
Oh, shit.
And then I got two more things. I think it's really nice throughout the whole film that Tracy fights back with Amber, because I think in a lot of movies like this, it's always like the mean bully and then the girl that gets picked on. And like Tracy gives as good as she gets, which I really like. And then I'm pretty sure the movie Footloose ended with them yelling, "Let's dance."
Yes, it did.
But this is the better version of Let's Dance. And that's all I got on the triumph that is Hairspray.
I will say this is probably one of the more enjoyable movies that we've watched.
Yes, definitely.
So, well, good. So it'll. No, we're still gonna watch bad movies because we watched bad movies. So
We did, sorry.
it's
But we
just
do, speaking of movies that we probably shouldn't have watched or that are maybe questionable choices, coming up, as long as my back stays backable, and I can sit down for more than 10 minutes at a time, we do have the wonderful series of They Let Us Watch This coming up. So I'm excited to get into that. I decided to change one of them. I think for my birthday week, we're gonna do Flashdance.
we're gonna be together for that one, right?
Yeah, I think maybe
Yeah.
either that week or the week after. So that'll be
Maybe we'll
fun.
go to the library and get separate rooms.
Yes, or we can just sit in a car and record. It'll be fine. Any last pearls of wisdom? About
Yes, I have a
Hairspray?
question.
Yes.
Link
Mm-hmm.
was very pretty. Yes.
Yes.
Is that the definition of bedroom eyes?
I think you could say he had bedroom eyes.
Bedroom eyes. Like there at the beginning when they're in, he's like,
Yeah, it's that kind of broody, like
mm.
cloudy. Like literally, if you think all this man can think about is sex, that's what bedroom eyes is, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It was like
Yeah.
the lips and the bedroom eyes.
And women can have that too. It's not just men.
No, I know.
Yeah, no, I know. It's usually men.
Usually here, yeah.
And one day we will watch Postcards from the Edge, one of my favorite movies ever, where she talks about having a living room forehead. Bathroom
That
mirrors.
is the first time I feel like I ever heard the term bedroom eyes was that movie.
Oh,
or
really?
like you ever remember it being a thing is because then they go
Because
on
they
with
point
all the
out how fucking stupid it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
That
And
and
then
I'm
the
not a
only other
box.
thing is
Yeah.
I wonder what made mom go off fireballs. Because you remember mom used to eat fireballs all the fucking time, just
I
like
know.
Penny does in this movie.
It's true.
And I
don't
wonder what
know.
made her go, probably the sugar.
Probably, yeah.
But god damn, that bitch used to love a fireball.
She did.
Yeah. What does she do now?
Oh man! Oh, I gotta say it. I
What's
gotta
her
say it.
oral? Because she did like sunflower seeds and she knitted and now like what she just scrolls Facebook and like she eats like her little snack. She's got her little
Yeah,
nighttime
she's
snack.
got her little snackies. That's her ADHD thing now.
Yeah.
She has her little snackies. So,
So
just
excited
really
about
fast.
what did mom do?
So no. So because we took a couple weeks off, one of the things that I watched was a series with Tyler Henry, something. He has a real last name, but he goes by Tyler Henry, and he's like Hollywood psychic medium. And so he goes around and he talks to dead people, but he can talk to living people too. And all
Yeah,
this.
you were telling me about this one.
And he can try to help solve mysteries, right? But he has to hold an object that it can be helpful if he holds an object related to the person. And all I could think was that if mom gets murdered and we don't know why, we're gonna have to roll up to Tyler Henry and be like, hey, here's this Coke Zero can. Can you help us find
Here's this empty Coke Zero can this bitch left in my car in the little pocket on the back of the driver's seat. Motherfucker, she couldn't even just drop it in the floorboard like so I could find it, throw it away. I don't know. I find it 3 months later. Or here's this Coke Zero can that she left like in the like pocket of the stroller the one time she walked my kid a year ago that I just now flew across the country on an airplane.
But then I was looking him up, and of course, skeptics are like, brah, 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 brah. But anyway, I just was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I also
what
loved how you
object?
told me about his mom being like, he can't do anything for himself. And then she talks about how she put his clothes in the dryer every morning, and that's probably why. And I felt very seen in a very unpleasant way.
I'm so sorry.
That's
Just
fine.
laugh about mom and her Coke Zero can. You'll
telling you, like, depending where we're at financially, I might seriously get like an artist to render a very nice crushed Coke Zero can that houses some of her ashes.
Did I tell you what I want to do with Sadie?
No.
I want to get a little, like, a dachshund. Put her ashes in it, but I want to get a sound box made so that it's motion detected, and if you get near it, it like barks or growls or like makes all the noises.
You gotta record her actual growl. Like
I do.
when you
I
touch
have.
her
I mean,
butt.
I have tons of videos of her, so I can
Yeah,
just
that's
extract the sound. But I just think it would
Like
be
if
so
you touch
funny.
her foot, like if you touch its foot, I want
Yeah.
it to like lose its mind.
Because I just think that Elliot would hate it so much forever that it would be hilarious. Like, he's like, oh, I don't have to be afraid of Dee Dee's house anymore. There's no Sadie. I'm like, that's what you think, kiddo. I'm gonna hide her.
You know, like the people that watch Bluey are obsessed. Apparently, they hide these like little images of long dogs, and people
Oh,
get really excited about finding them. And like,
okay.
so you can find like little. So you could get one of those because then he'd be like
Oh,
Bluey, and then it would like he'd pick it up and it'd be like. I do think he'll be sad when Sadie dies.
sure.
Yeah. Did I tell you the other night? Last one, I'll let you go. But like the other night, we were going to bed, and he's doing his like talking about like his big thoughts, and he's talking about like Mindy and like I don't know, and then Grammy dying, and you know like that kind of thing. And then he goes, it's like kind of quietly, I don't want to die.
Oh,
He's like,
oh.
I know. He also keeps asking me if our house is haunted. He thinks our house is haunted.
Your house isn't haunted.
I know. I told him that, but he thinks our house is haunted because it's old.
No. So
Yeah.
Dee
No,
said
I
it's
know.
not haunted.
Yeah. He also said he didn't want to play soccer because, and I can't remember the words he used, but basically what he was saying is he thought a ghost would like enter his body while he was
Playing
on this,
soccer?
running on this.
Just tell him ghosts aren't athletic.
He's very ghost obsessed, which I'm going to say is because someone let him watch Ghostbusters.
It wasn't me.
No, I know. It wasn't me.
Okay. You know what, though? I watched all kinds of crazy, scary stuff when I was a kid, and I turned out just fine. So, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm just fine.
Because in the beginning of the podcast, you were talking about how your psychology is broken.
Yeah, everybody's psychology is broken. Come on, get a grip.
Sure.
I mean, I would not be an interesting person. Like, I could be a person who does yoga and does like all the stuff I'm supposed to do. But can you imagine how fucking boring I would be? Like,
I
wouldn't hang out with me. Like, I've met people like that. I don't want to
They
spend
call
time
that
with them.
basic. They call it basic.
No,
for a
I mean,
reason.
basic to me is different because basic you can still have broken psychology. It's called enlightened, and they're great, and I'm real happy for them. But oh my God, how boring.
I don't think they're enlightened.
All right.
I think we're enlightened.
No.
You don't think knowing that your psychology is fucked is enlightened?
I think that makes me self-aware. That's not the same thing as enlightened. I have to poop. I love you.
Me too. Bye.
Bye.